What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Game Week 10 deadline stream. Welcome to another deadline, another stream. It's a bit of an odd one because this time we are having the stream on a Friday night, evening, or maybe morning, depending on where you're listening from. And it's not the usual Saturday deadline that we generally get. So I think a lot of people kind of, get caught out by the deadlines, miss maybe a week or two, then the motivation, etc., kind of goes down and all that stuff. But yeah, here we are on a Friday, trying to figure out our teams, trying to figure out how we can, kind of assess the transfers, assess players. There are a lot of good fixture swings happening from Game Week 10. If you're on a wild card, I think it's going to be a very interesting week for you. Lots and lots to kind of learn in terms of the football that will be played during the week and the weekend. And I think it's going to give us some patterns, maybe some idea in terms of our teams. Now is probably the time where, a lot of managers, a lot of people are kind of settling into a rhythm in terms of which kind of teams to focus on. We've seen the likes of Tottenham doing really well. We've seen Chelsea struggling again this season. Man United again, it's a bit of a weird one with them because we still do not know what to expect from United. Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, all these teams have done really well. There are some really interesting options coming up in midfield. This year again, probably the defense is, they're doing okay. We have some decent options. Amazingly, Trippier has done really well again this season. I think a lot of people went with him. A lot of people couldn't because of the team structure, the team that we had at a particular period of time. But I think if you had him, great, congratulations for those lovely points that you kind of got. I couldn't, like a lot of people, because of the fact that there was so much money invested in midfield in terms of attackers as well. I think it was very difficult to kind of change funds. I was probably a bit sound or sensible in terms of going with Salah a little bit earlier than the others. Now, a lot of people are jumping on Salah. I think one player that has probably hurt my rank a lot over the last few weeks is Ollie Watkins. We have him this week. Let's really, really hope that he does really well. Because whenever we kind of buy a player who's doing well or probably has done well for a couple of weeks, it happens that, that player doesn't score anymore. That player stops performing, maybe gets injured, maybe there is a curse, there's a content creator curse, there's probably a FPL manager curse that probably exists, which prevents these kind of players to then do a lot better. But yeah, this is what it is. I have made 3 transfers. Just to give you an update in terms of my team, I made them last night because of a price rise. I didn't see if there were price rise or price falls today, but Gordon was, I think, expecting or was expected to rise. Then I think Botman was expected to fall. So I made those moves a little bit earlier because then I would have probably, taken a point to sort of a financial or finance it, right, in terms of the budget. But I went there early. Luckily, there's no information or no news till now. I mean, we still have about an hour, maybe, little more than an hour to go in terms of finding out if there are any leaks, etc. Any information that, we can share with you, also kind of consume and then maybe take some sound decisions just before the deadline, because near the deadline generally kind of gets very, very crazy. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is in terms of my transfers. I took out Mbomo, still figuring out that pronunciation. I took out Alvarez, and I also took out what I think was a defender, Botman. Yeah, so we did 3 transfers, 2 free transfers we already had. We took a hit, and I think it should be okay. I mean, taking a hit is fine unless, until you're really going crazy or, you're doing some stupid moves, etc. Maybe then in that case, not. But I think generally hits are, a lot of people are, afraid of hits, which shouldn't be the case. So I think those are my transfers for this week. And yeah, I mean, let's get started. Please feel free to add any questions, anything that you want to check, anything that you want to ask. And of course, if you're new around here, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We do deadline streams. We do a lot of content on Instagram as well. So you can check that out as well. On our Instagram handle, which is Insanely Football. So yeah, I mean, hello to all of you again and welcome to the stream. Hey Devargya, hello to you. I've already seen your team. Yes, I have. Interesting team with Douglas Lewis. I remember there's Douglas Lewis. Not a very common, or despite the ownership, a lot of it might be because of the fact that he's scored in a couple of weeks and people have bought him the week after that. But I think he could be a very interesting pick. In terms of captaincy as well, I think there are a couple of shouts this week or a couple of options which are kind of, rivaling Haaland or maybe even getting better of Haaland in terms of the output that they can have. I mean, we have the likes of Watkins. We also have a Salah, for example. A lot of people are also thinking about a Son or even a Madison. I've seen teams, or managers also asking questions around those players as well. So I think in terms of captaincy as well, I think it's going to be an interesting week. I don't think so I personally don't think so. Haaland's ownership is going to be very, very high in terms of, let's say the number of people captaining Haaland could still be uh, slightly higher because of the fact that there are dead teams. A lot of people don't, make changes every week. A lot of people might actually go with Haaland because they're scared of his ownership and, scared of his potential for the week. So yes, his ownership is definitely going to be more than 100%, but I don't think so. It's going to be very, very high, considering we have the likes of Watkins, Salah, Son, etc., who are maybe even Saka, right? I mean, Saka is also a good option because of the fact that he has a great fixture. I mean, a lot of us, most of the times, yes, we do look at fixtures, but there is good potential in the Arsenal fixture. He may or may not be on penalties. We still do not know that. But apart from that unknown, I think we're pretty much clear in terms of what to expect from Saka. There are a couple of injuries in the Arsenal team. Gabriel Jesus is probably going to miss out this week. So let's see how is it going to impact the likes of Martinelli, because traditionally what we've seen, Martinelli tends to play a lot better with Gabriel Jesus in the team. That partnership, but that his positioning, his returns, his, let's say, attacking threat is reduced a lot when Nketiah is playing in that number 9 role. So I think it'll be very interesting to see how Martinelli involves, because a lot of people are on Saka. I don't have Saka and probably would want to have an Arsenal player, considering the fact that the upcoming fixtures are really, really good. So I think it's a good time to assess how Arsenal's going to play. It's a good time to assess how Martinelli is going to evolve, or how his role or how his positioning is going to evolve in the team, considering the fact that we also have Trossard, who may take some minutes off Martinelli as well there. So I think interesting times for Arsenal and Arsenal fans as well. Hey Soumya, hello to you. Welcome to the stream. Devaga, you've asked, in case we forgot my team, you've mentioned again Areola, Burn, Trippier, Cash, Son, Salah, Lewis, as I mentioned, Gordon, Solanke, Watkins, Haaland, benches, Turner, Anderson, pretty much straightforward, Tarkowski, Nakamba, transfer, I mean, solid transfers. Trippier is a good move. A lot of people are shipping off Trippier and, moving towards a cheaper option like a Simicas, maybe a Quehi, maybe a Gabriel, maybe a Cash, for example. And this is this kind of, going against the crowd, going against what everybody's doing, and actually really like that. Trippier still has potential. I mean, there is no denying the fact that Trippier cannot give you points. Despite the slightly trickier fixtures, I think Newcastle can still keep a few clean sheets in those. But I think Trippier does have potential. I mean, he does have great attacking potential. So it's not that he's a bad pick all of a sudden, but yes, because the fact that there's so many good options. I mean, you see the midfield, it's so, good options heavy, that you want the likes of Son, Madison, Saka, you want Bowen, you want maybe Diaby, Gordon. I mean, there's so many really, really good options to go for that it's becoming difficult to understand where to take the money from. Because even in my case, I had to take out Alvarez, though I didn't want to, but I think going without Watkins this week, it feels a bit scary to me. And yeah, I mean, just because of the fact that, there's so many good options, it's difficult to kind of, take out money. But I mean, these are solid moves, good strong approach in terms of how do you want to play this week and the weeks after, or the coming weeks. I think it's going to be really good. Get rid of Watkins to be able to afford Salah. I mean, to be honest, I would not want to get rid of Watkins. Yes, of course, if you are comparing or asking about which is more important right now, I think Salah definitely. I mean, if I really, really have to just name one player who has to be in my team, or I suggest, or I recommend to anybody else, I think it has to be Salah. He's in great form. There are good fixtures coming up. I think Liverpool's attack is also started ticking now. And I mean, he's shown that he is the talisman. He's shown that he's a great FPL, option or an asset in general. So I think if there's one, and if I really have to, I mean, I would not want to sacrifice Watkins just yet this week. But if I had to, or if I, really want to, for example, I think it has to be Salah. I mean, it'll be very difficult to see, Salah getting those goals, because now he's on a run. He's getting goals, he's getting assists, he's on penalties. There's a lot that you can, miss if you don't have Salah. So it's tricky. I mean, you have a 6.3 for a forward in that case. To be honest, I don't really like anyone. I'll probably, if you have to play this forward, it's a different thing. Maybe you try to go Nketiah, because Gabriel Jesus might miss out, but it's still a risk because Nketiah is also not going to get very regular minutes. As soon as Gabriel Jesus is even near a return, I think he'll start getting minutes. And I think this is when, the Nketiah transfer will probably have to be downgraded into maybe a 4-5-1, for example, or you maybe, upgrade the Nketiah position, take out money from a midfield or even a defense line. But in terms of the cheaper forwards as well, right? I mean, we don't necessarily have a lot of very good options. We have the likes of Visa, etc., who's definitely cheaper than 6.3, but the fixtures aren't really there. So it's tricky. I mean, you can even probably give or make take a punt on a Ferguson, for example. Not a lot of people are heavy on Ferguson, considering the fact that there is possible rotation, maybe a lot of routes that De Zerbi could go towards, especially when we're talking about the Brighton upcoming games, and they're really really good games. Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest. I mean, these four fixtures are great. So if you want to take a risk, maybe look towards the Ferguson, because not a lot of people would look at him. And I think, considering the fact that there are a fair few injuries in Brighton, I think Ferguson should get a lot of minutes. So I think he's a good option. You can definitely go for him. Other than that, I would have. I mean, Solanke is okay, but fixtures are a little tricky with Man City, Newcastle. But I think the money's an issue here. But yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at that cheap price, probably, and not even Joao Pedro, I'll probably look at Ferguson and take a punt on him. Thoughts on Harry Maguire scoring on UCL? I mean, it's good for him. It's good for United. I mean, it just feels like it's been so negative that I've hardly spoken about United or thought about United in general. Yes, I've seen their games, but I'm just not in a good space when it comes to Man United. But yeah, I was happy for him, happy for us to get that win. Huge, huge, very, very important. And yeah, I mean, he's been putting in some decent performances off late. Of course, there's been a lot of defending to do off late as well, which isn't great, and it kind of leaves you in a bad taste. Or I mean, there's so many bad memories over the past few seasons that is just very very difficult. But yeah, happy for him. He's not getting hate or whatever it is. I mean, I think a lot of people do hate on him, or one bad performance, people start abusing him left, right, center. It's probably not fair, and I think it's good that he's getting the confidence back. I mean, he's been a decent defender, a good defender when he was at Leicester as well. So I think there is a decent player in there. Of course, we've not seen that maybe over the past couple of seasons, but yeah, just happy with the fact that he got a goal, and I think he's put in some really good performances over the last couple of weeks. Really, Watkins in and sell Saka to a foot Salah. I mean, if I had to, I'll. So now it kind of the conversation changes here, where you have to think that do you want Watkins or a Saka, right? I personally think for the next three, I would. I know that Saka's ownership is massively crazy and it's a lot, but I think over the next three games, Watkins is the player to have. Considering it's Luton, Nottingham Forest, and Fulham, I mean, 10, 11, 12, they're great fixtures. And if you look at Saka, I mean, we can still. I mean, it's tricky, right? Because with Saka, you will see that there'll be sharing of goals. We still do not know whether he's going to be on pens. Then they have the Newcastle game in game week 11 as well. I mean, we don't. It's a home game for Newcastle where they're traditionally very strong. So I'd probably think that that's going to be a slightly trickier game. Sheffield United home, Burnley home, really two amazing fixtures out there, and I think those could be good. But I still feel if I had to prioritize one pick or one option right now, I'll probably prioritize an Oli Watkins over a Saka. I know it's probably not going to be very popular, but I think both options are good. But Watkins is slightly better for me, and that's where I am. So I'll probably just sell Saka and get in Salah. I can keep Watkins and Saka and still get Salah. I mean, if you can, that's great. You can get Diaz if you want. I mean, to be honest, Diaz doesn't really cover Salah. I mean, in no alternate universe, Diaz is probably going to cover Salah. So I don't know. I mean, I would probably not go with this mindset that I have to cover a Liverpool attacker and probably cover Salah with Diaz. Diaz not going to be on penalties. He's probably not going to be as talismanic as a Salah. Salah is in great form and he's been scoring goals. So I don't think so. To be honest, Diaz is a cover for Salah. I mean, I'm okay doubling up on taking a risk, with the Liverpool attack by going Salah plus Diaz, for example. Maybe I go Salah plus Nunes as well. Salah plus Tsimikas is also an option. But yeah, I mean, Diaz in place of Salah, maybe not. Ariola, Tsimikas, sorry, Gabriel Cash, Son, Salah, Mitoma, Gordon, Mitoma is mentioned twice. Watkins, Haaland, Quahi, Maguire, Obama, captain. I think Maguire could be a decent option. I mean, it's against Man City, and I mean, you would think that Maguire. I mean, from the look of it sounds very crazy and very it sounds weird comparing or comparing that matchup of Maguire versus a Haaland. I think the way we've played in general, I am very very scared. I don't think so. United will keep a clean sheet in this one. So yes, Haaland may not end up scoring. There's a good possibility that they will try to man mark him and put him out of the game. Though a couple of moments, one chance, and he gets, and he can absolutely score. So that's what you get from a Haaland. That's what you get from a United team right now, who are not really considering, or not really playing that well, especially in terms of defending. Yes, couple of last games have been decent, but yeah, I mean, Maguire will not score against Man City. That is for sure. Could score. I mean, who knows what can happen? I mean, weirder things have happened in football, so who knows? I mean, yeah, not the next game, but the three games after that. I mean, they look okay. They don't look that bad. And if you want to give it a shot, I mean, yes, he could be a decent option. Let me just check his price as well. I've not even considered him as an FPL asset. 4.2 is quite a decent price. Fulham away, Luton at home, Everton away. See, to be honest, I'm not very very confident about us keeping a lot of clean sheets. And I mean, yes, I don't think so. We've also scored many goals, or any goals in fact. We have scored goals, but we haven't scored many goals from set pieces this season. So I don't think so. I would probably go Maguire. I understand the temptation to go towards him because he's 4.2 starter. You know, next week or 11 to 13 are decent fixtures, but yeah, I mean, I'll shy away from the United team. Absolutely, I think there are better options to go for. I think if you are looking for the next three fixtures, I mean, Liverpool, considering if you leave out game week 13, I think 10 to game week 12, Tsimikas is a great option. I think yes, he's point three. I think more than Maguire, but I think that point three is absolutely worth it. Playing in a more attacking role, though I'm not even confident in Liverpool keeping a lot of clean sheets, but I have a feeling that if Simikas does start all three games and does feature in all three games, I think he will get some attacking returns for sure. So I think if I'm looking at cheaper options, I'll probably look at a Simikas who's slightly more expensive. Agreed, but yeah, I think I won't consider Maguire, to be very honest. Watkins triple captain. It's Luton at home. Luton away have been poor. I mean, there is that chance that Watkins can score a brace, can score a hat trick, and yeah, I mean, it's a fair shout. You can't say that, or you probably can't just outrightly reject the idea. I think it's a good shout. I mean, you can definitely take that risk. You can argue on the split side is that you can argue that there'll be double game weeks. Maybe a Haaland, for example, has a game week where he's facing Luton or Sheffield. I mean, those kind of teams who are defensively very leaky. Maybe a Burnley, for example. So you have all these options or combinations that could happen a little later in the season. But yeah, I mean, if you're confident that Watkins, if you're very very confident about Watkins' captaincy, I think yeah, I mean, triple captaincy is not really outside the realm of possibility. I think it's a fair shot. Would prefer Dallo. I mean, I possibly will just avoid all United options. I just don't think we have enough to keep clean sheets. Yes, we still may win the upcoming games, but if I'm taking a chance, I'd probably take a chance with Lascelles. I know Lascelles is probably also very very short term because Botman, he's not side training. Could happen in the coming week. May not play against Arsenal. Arsenal is a very huge game, so let's see what happens with them. But I think a couple of games at least is what you can expect from Lascelles, who's also 4 million. So he's in that cheaper defender price bracket as well. So there are a couple of decent options. There's Brathwaite as well. Brathwaite as well from Everton. He's also, I think, 4 million only. So I mean, if I'm going super super cheap, I'll probably look at them. Maybe Taylor from Burnley, who has decent fixtures. Again, don't expect too much from Burnley from a clean sheet point of view, but I think maybe a clean sheet here and there, maybe an attacking return. I think you could get lucky there. Should I sell Saka, Almiron and Trippier to get Salah, Samikas in a 4.5 mid, or does it create imbalance? Depends on your. I mean, Almiron, I would probably still, expect Gordon to do better than Almiron. Trippier is definitely a loss, but then you're getting Salah and Simikas, who are really good options. It depends, right? If this 4.5 million mid is a player that you have to play week in week out, yes, it'll create an imbalance because I don't necessarily see any 4.5, any good 4.5 million options in terms of midfielders who are playing in and out week in week out and also doing really well from an FPL point of view. So can't really expect. Anyways, I mean, expecting a lot from those kind of cheaper options. I mean, Pereira was of course one, but and yeah, if this player is going to play every week, I think maybe in that case don't do it and try to figure out a different way to get in Salah. But if this is a bench player, and if you, let's say, if you're playing with 3-4-3, for example, or you're playing let's say a 4-4-2, for example, so in that case you won't need the fifth midfielder. You can easily bench him, maybe get a Nakamba who's who will at least give you appearance points at the minimum, and I think you can get away with it. Johnston, Onana, Gabriel Cash, Bayer, Botman, Porro, Saka, Puemo, Rashford, Madison, Bowen, Holland. Wilson is a good shout, really good shout. Whom to transfer out to? Free transfers, 1.2 million bank, or play the wild card. I mean, Onana, let's see what options or what positions need replacement. I mean, Johnston and Onana definitely feels a lot more money in terms of having for keepers. Johnson's 4.5. When I see Onana is 4.8. So that's about what, 9.3 for keepers. I mean, you could probably go 8.3, 8.4 if you go for Areola plus a Turner combination. I think that's definitely better. Still, I mean, having said that, both of them could still be okay because the fact that they have decent fixtures coming up. Still, some money is kind of wasted there. Cash buys, of course, a bench option anyway. Botman is injured right now. Porro. So basically, Gabriel, Cash, and Porro is are the three options that you can play week in, week out, especially in the coming weeks as well. Then there's Saka, Mbomo, Puemo, Rashford, Madison, Bowen. It doesn't need a. I mean, Rashford is somebody that I'll probably change. I think Wilson Haaland is really good. No Watkins and no Villa attacker, so probably you can downgrade a Rashford to a different option, and then I understand the Wilson appeal, and it's great if you're going differential. If you want to go slightly safer, you basically upgrade a Wilson to a Watkins. If not, and if you want to ride the wave without having Watkins, that's also fine. Maybe just get take out Rashford, get in a Diaby, for example. Again, Diaby is probably not going to cover like a Diaz, right? Diaz is not going to cover Salah. Similarly, I don't think so. Diaby is going to cover a Watkins. I think you need Watkins to cover Watkins because of the fact that he's been in such great form, and Diaby's numbers are. I mean, they're nowhere, to be very honest. Yes, he's done okay, but if he's playing in an out of position role, I think he's probably going to do well. If not, maybe if Villa score 4 or 5 goals, maybe he gets a goal, maybe he gets an assist, etc. But yeah, I mean, the potential is, of course, nowhere close to what a Watkins could give you. So if you're okay taking that risk, I mean, you don't necessarily have to, get in Watkins. Rashford to a Diaby is absolutely fine, and I think that should give you a lot of money. That money can probably use. I mean, if you want to get in Son, I think Madison to Son is possible in that scenario. If you're comfortable with Madison, then it's fine. I think Bowen is a hold. You could probably change Poema. Just see how much cash you have. If you do, the Rashford to Diaby move, and let's see what can Boemo become. I mean, he could be a different, a lot of different options. I mean, you can go for Gordon. You can get back get back towards a Madison as well. In case if you wanna make your defense slightly better, you can take out Botman and you can replace him with a different option. You can get a Simikas here as well. So personally, I don't. If you in a scenario where you really have to get in Salah here, because of course there's no Salah, so I can't see Salah. Yeah, there's no Salah. So I think in that scenario I'll probably use the wildcard because I think in this case, 2 keepers that you need to change. Salah is one option that you need to buy. Take out Rashford, and I think you also need to take out Mbemo. So I think it'll be much easier to just use the wildcard, restructure the team, try to get in Son, Salah, Saka. Then Diaby doesn't become a must because you can easily get in Watkins and then pair him with Haaland. And then similar, defense with a Cash, Simicas, and maybe a Gabriel. I think that should be okay. But yeah, I think wildcard is probably going to make it a lot more easier. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool's upcoming games are actually pretty good, and that's the reason. I mean, there's no harm in even tripling up on Liverpool if we understand. Let's say if we see Darwin Nunes, becoming a good option, becoming an option where who's getting a lot of starts or is getting starts to start the thing. But I think if we have some idea, if we have some confidence that he's going to get more minutes, I think Darwin Nunes could be a really, really good option. And then that kind of makes the case to go for three forwards. Anyways, I think a lot of managers, a lot of people are looking at a 3-4-3 sort of a formation right now, considering the fact that they have Haaland, they have Watkins, they probably have Alvarez or maybe a Darwin Nunes already. And I think the fifth midfielder can be downgraded so that you have seven attackers. You don't have to bench an attacker. You'd probably have 4 million defenders. Maybe you can have a slightly more expensive option, maybe a 4.4, 4.5 option, maybe a starting option who's at least going to give you, appearance points at the minimum, right? And of course, depending on the team, depending on the players you get, you kind of can understand, kind of can take a call in terms of whether you want a lot of bench cover or whether, there are some injuries, etc., that you need to cover through the bench. And I think accordingly, you can take a call. So Nunes did score in Europe. I mean, yeah, he did. I just feel that whenever he's played, he's done really well. Yes, he ended up again missing a big chance. And I think with Darwin Nunes, you'll probably always gonna get that. He's always gonna miss those chances. But I think we still have to, take that chance with him, put ourselves in a position where we get lucky, and we probably catch him on a day where he's, converting his chances, where he's scoring a brace, where he's getting a goal or two, or probably more returns. And yeah, he's always a player that who flirts with you and entices you, but you can't do much because you're like, no, probably I'm gonna get hurt and I don't want to get involved in this particular mess. So I think that's what he does generally, and it is tempting, but you always have to kind of be watchful of the fact in terms of what's happening with the Liverpool lineups, considering the fact that they are also playing in Europe. I think there is rotation, etc., expected there as well. Mpuemo out for Diaby, Mitoma, Bowen, or Botman out for Lucas Digne. I think I'll keep Botman. I mean, there's a chance that he can play next week. Maybe gets minutes off the bench. Maybe comes off, plays, sometime, or maybe just misses out completely next week, but is probably back the week after that. So I'll probably just keep him just in case. I think Mpuemo is one option that you can definitely take out. The fixtures are getting tough, and you can definitely do a lot better considering. I mean, there's so many good options in that slightly cheaper price point now. Of course, not everybody's gonna give points. Let's hope that everybody gives points, but I mean, there could be one option that outshines the other ones. And if you're on that particular option, I think you're gonna get very, very lucky, and you'll probably end up with a lot of points and a good rank boost. But I think Mbuemo out for. I mean, if you wanna, let's say if you don't have a Watkins and if you absolutely have to cover Aston Villa, because I think that's a safe strategy or a sound a sort of thinking to kind of start your transfer planning with. In that case, I think you can definitely go with Diaby. I think he's a good option. If you're looking for slightly longer term, considering the fact that Brighton has really good fixtures, yes, there could be rotation, but I think Mitoma is one of the most safer options in terms of minutes, and I think his minutes are pretty much secure. Yes, he can still get a odd benching, and you'll be frustrated because of the fact, especially if Brighton score 4 or 5 goals, I think that will be very, very tough to take. But I think slightly longer term, and maybe you don't want to change this position, don't want to touch this particular position, I think in that case, you can go for Mitoma. I think Bowen is also a very interesting option. He has had tougher fixtures, and that's very, very interesting that, he's had a slightly tougher run of games, and he's done really well. Now, Bowen's output, I think it also depends on the fact whether he's playing in a slightly withdrawn role, whether he's, playing up front, what kind of attacking position is he playing in, and what kind of positions is he occupying on the pitch. I think that probably translates a lot in terms of how his performances are going to be. So I think Bowen, to be very honest, I think if I had to see all these options, I think I really like Bowen. Bowen is a very attacking pick. yes, it could go absolutely wrong, but I think it's where you go if you want to go very aggressive. I think Diaby is good for the next three, but you probably will have to change Diaby. So maybe you can get in Diaby now and then maybe move towards a Mitoma or a Bowen. See for a couple of weeks what's happening with both the players, and then probably take that call. So again, in case of no Watkins, definitely Diaby. In case if you already have Watkins and if you don't want to double down, and if you don't want to make any changes in the future in terms of this position, if you want a safe, sound option, I think Mitoma is a good pick. And if you want to go aggressive, I think you go Bowen. So it depends on how, what's your play style and how much risk you want to take. Botman, Haaland, Fernandez, Empuemo to Mitoma, Saka, Watkins, and Simicas for a -8. I mean, good run. Sometimes you might think that -8 might be a bit too much, and you do want to take so many players out, get so many players in, might not recover. I mean, the hit could absolutely not recover this week. But again, it's taking out Haaland, which is a bit. It doesn't sit right with me, to be honest. I think he may not. I mean, he may blank this week, and he has a slightly tougher run of games coming up. But I still feel going without him is still a risk for me. I think I'm okay, kind of taking away a little bit of Haaland by not captaining him. But I'm still not very comfortable with the fact that I have to take away the entire Haaland, from my team, and I won't have him. To me, I think it's very, very difficult because I don't want to lose my sleep over this one position. But if you're okay with it, I think you can go for it. But again, taking out Haaland and spreading all of your cash or most of your cash is going to be very tricky because you'll find it very, very difficult to get him back, right? Because if whatever cash you're generating from Haaland, if you're distributing that particular cash in 2 or 3 or 4 players, then you may not be able to get back Haaland or get in Haaland by a single move or a couple of moves. I think it's difficult. I mean, I would definitely not suggest, but again, as I always say, there's no one way of playing FPL. If you want to go absolutely berserk, absolutely crazy, you take out Haaland, you sacrifice a bit of his sleep, and then let's just hope that yeah, I mean, something happens with Haaland going out. With the relationship analogy, I mean, yeah, that kind of makes me sound very very old, but yeah, I mean, that's what it is. Brentford has good fixtures from 14. I mean, yeah, they do, but again, they've been okay because of the fact that, I mean, they started really, really well. In fact, they were draws, but at least Embuemo was getting some decent returns. Then I think from game week 5 to, I think, game week, let me check, game week 8, he didn't get anything. Then a big haul in game week 9. I mean, fixtures turn, but then he also has the blank to deal with in game week 18, and that's not very ideal. So I think it's okay. There'll be a lot of shifting and chopping and changing around players depending on how you are seeing the next 2, 3, 4 games. I think week on week is going to be very, very difficult. You probably have to get players for 2 to 3 weeks, that kind of window, where you don't keep changing the same player and you're probably just messing it up every week because the other player that you're probably taking out or the player that you're getting in is not really scoring. So I think yeah, I mean, and whosoever gets it right this year, I think is going to do really, really well, because it is about jumping on the right players at the right time and assessing what kind of teams or what attacks or what players are going to give you hauls, whether it's even a clean sheet, right? What kind of defense are going to keep clean sheet, which are the players that are good attacking defenders, or maybe just regular defenders who have probably some threat from set pieces, scoring headers, etc., all of that stuff. So I think, yeah, I mean, let's see. I think the next few weeks are also going to give us some idea in terms of where we should go, whether we can really trust fixtures for certain teams or whether it's just not worth investing in certain players and probably looking elsewhere. Son Alvarez and Neto out for Watkins, Saka, and Adingra. I think it's okay because of the fact that you're covering two safer options in Watkins and Saka, but then you're taking out two decently high ownership players. I think Watkins and Saka is definitely going to be very, very higher or very high. So in case if you want to go defense, I mean, these are defensive moves for sure. Adingra, you might say that, he's a differential. Not many people are on him. Brighton has a good run of fixtures. Maybe you cannot afford Mitoma. Maybe you don't want to go Mitoma. And you give yourself an opportunity to go differential, go a bit risky, kind of try to balance it out with the safer Watkins and Saka picks. But I still feel, for me, Son is I still think he's a non-negotiable sell. I mean, I would not want to sell him. yes, the fixture for Tottenham are getting or will get tougher. You know, somebody like, let's say, like a Saka will have better fixtures. Adingra, of course, maybe there are different ways to get him, but I personally would want to keep Son. If I had to, take somebody out to get in Saka, I'll probably take out a Madison, for example. Maybe you don't have Madison, but yeah, I mean that would be my transfer to get in a Saka. But yeah, in case if you are worried about you know about your rank or losing more of your rank, and if you don't want to take a lot of chances, I think these are safe options and safe moves with Watkins and Saka. And I mean, you're putting yourself in a position to get lucky with a Dingra, and I think that could absolutely happen. And with a hit, I think hits are fine, not a problem. As soon as the Brighton of previous season, I mean, it looks like that they are scoring a lot of goals. They're now, also keeping some clean sheets as well. I mean, not really because they only kept two, but I think with cash there is good attacking threat. You can definitely get something. Watkins has been in great form, and I mean, you have to kind of assess where or which players are kind of getting onto a run. And if you can get on those players a lot earlier, I mean, somebody who had the likes of Watkins and Trippier for this last 3 or 4 or 5 game weeks, I think that particular option or that particular manager would absolutely be flying right now. And now probably is the time you can take off Trippier. You can invest in cheaper defenses. Now move towards the Salah as well. I know Salah has also been doing really well over the last few weeks. But I mean, yeah, it's about figuring out these runs and trying to basically get on them to get the right rank boost. Hans basically a free goal machine. Absolutely. I mean, I would be very afraid or very worried if I have to take out Haaland. Sorry. And yeah, Salah blanks this week. Watkins hat trick. I think let's go with. I mean, let's be all friendly, friends here and friendly here, and then let's just go Watkins hat trick, Salah hat trick, maybe a Haaland blank. I mean, I would love to have a Haaland blank for sure. But yeah, I mean, Watkins is also a great captaincy option against Luton. Luton away haven't been that great. Aston Villa at home are very very strong, and Watkins is crazy at home. I mean, his numbers are absolutely ballistic. So I think he could do really well. And Salah against Forest, I mean, yeah, shouldn't be one of those games where Liverpool is struggling. It's like 0-0, maybe a 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Anfield is getting all jerky, and I mean, there's a lot of tension, anxiety, and all that stuff. And then probably just Haaland, Salah, sorry, he comes at the end and he scores a brace, gets a penalty, gets 3 bonus, something like that. That would be crazy in general also, but I think a decent, steady Salah performance is also very welcoming or very well accepted. But yeah, I mean, football can again give you varied results. There could be surprises. Who knows? Even Man United might win against Man City. I mean, wishful thinking, but I mean, anything could happen. So let's see. That's what I did. I'm at 6.5k, really good rank. I still say ranks don't really matter a lot right now. But yeah, 6.5. Having said that, 6.5k right now is a great rank because it kind of gives you a platform to push towards that 1k, 500, 100, and those kind of ranks. Yes, it's still going to be very very difficult because you have to make your best moves week in week out. You have to kind of maintain yourself so you can try to gain more, because it's very easy to fall off that sort of a rank and suddenly plummet towards 50, 100k, 500k, and you'll be like, yeah, there were some mistakes that definitely happened, and could have done things a bit differently. No, Salah is working fine. I mean, yeah, it depends, right? It depends in terms of where the other assets are doing fine or not. In a weekend or in a week where Salah does really well, a couple of your assets, a couple of your options, and I think I can say the same thing for Haaland as well. In case of a week where Haaland does really well, and somebody who you got in place of Haaland is probably not doing that great, I think yeah, I mean, there could be a lot of damage considering the fact that your backup options or your cover up options for a Salah or for a Haaland haven't done that well, and considering these players have a very very high ownership, I think there could be massive rank losses there as well. Best ever is 165 in the world. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, I have never been around that rank, so I'm in no position to comment anything against a 165. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, for me, I think currently anyone finishing in the top 10k, top 5k, I mean, those are massive, massive ranks because considering the fact that there's so much content out there, considering the fact that there, of course, every year there are more players playing the game, and more players playing the game very, very seriously. I think it's getting tougher. It's this year. It's also been very tough because of the fact that there's no template. There's certain picks that are doing well at certain stages. There's certain picks that are not performing as per what you had probably expected. So yeah, I mean, it's not that you'll be a bad FPL player if your rank is 2 million right now. I mean, a lot of I think a fair amount of content creators are at this stage where their ranks are 1.5, 2 million, etc., etc. And I think it's absolutely fine. Yes, a person having a 10k, 5k, 6k, whatever rank, I think could be in a much better position, but then it could go absolutely crazy in the next 4 or 5 game week. So you don't know that. I mean, Murphy could be good, but I think Murphy's injured. If I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he did pick up an injury and he's out for quite some time. Was a shoulder injury or something like that. Yeah. So I mean, once he's back, we'll see. But I think till the time, I think Newcastle's attacking stats have been really good. They've been playing some very good football, and I think Gordon, despite the tough fixtures, I think he could be great. I think Wilson could be a great option. Not a lot of people would go towards Wilson because if I'm going for three strikers, I'll probably go with Haaland, Watkins. Maybe I can move towards an Alvarez. Maybe I can even move towards Darwin Nunes, for example. So I think yeah, not a lot of people would consider Wilson. Also because of the fact that he's injury prone and he can get an injury, etc., etc. And I mean, there could be absolutely chaos for that position. But yeah. Any love for Martinelli? I think he's a good pick. I'm still, I'm not worried, but I'm a little tentative in terms of, you know, to see his position, and I'm not very very confident right now. I mean, it could change this week, it could change next week, but I want to see how he's playing when Gabriel Jesus is not there. How many minutes and how much is Nketiah playing, and and what kind of impact is that having on Martinelli and his minutes. Also the fact that there's Trossard, and if we let's say if we see that Nketiah is playing through the center and Saka is playing on one side, it's probably going to be between Trossard and Martinelli for that position. So I think it's for me it's a wait and watch. I would want to see it for a couple of weeks and then probably take a call. Maybe the Newcastle game, and after the Newcastle game is when I make my peace with it, and I kind of make a decision, because then they have a really good run with Burnley, Brentford, Wolves, Luton, Aston Villa. I mean, Aston Villa, Brighton, Liverpool. Then the run kind of starts getting tougher. But I think Sheffield United and the Newcastle game is probably going to give some inkling, some idea, and I think I can. Yes, it will probably be a game missed, because I think Sheffield United is one game where Martin could do really well. I mean, he could absolutely smash it, get a couple of goals, get a big haul, and you'll probably miss out on that haul because Sheffield United are the worst defense in the league right now. So if you want to risk it, go there. But I think there are enough good options to cover off a Martinelli haul this week. Yes, he's probably going to give you the maximum rank boost because he's hardly owned by anyone. But I think I'll still probably give it a wait and watch for at least 2 weeks. Bonus tempting though. Not Captain Watkins because Luton doesn't concede. I mean, yeah, they definitely don't concede as much as Sheffield United, but their record away has been poor, and also the fact that Aston Villa at home have been mental. I mean, if there was a better word for it, I mean they're that. But I think, yeah, I think it's going to be an easy game for Villa. They're probably going to end up scoring 3 or 4 goals, and I think in most of them Watkins is going to be involved one way or the other. So I still feel he's a good option. But again, that's just my read on of the game. Areola, Turner, Burn, Odogi, Taylor, Cash, Anderson, Salah, Neto, Son, Madison, Diaby, Watkins, Haaland, 2 free transfers. What should I do? Thinking of doing Udogi to Gabriel and holding one transfer. I mean, you don't have to make another transfer because Salah, Neto, Son, Madison, Diaby. I think there's a really good options. We have Watkins covered as well. There's no Saka, but I think yes, there could be massive rank loss, and I've kind of faced that over the past few weeks because I've not had Saka since a very long time. So in case if you want to get back Saka, it's a different thing. But I mean, yeah, if you're okay without having Saka or not having Saka, I think it's fine. You can just do the Gabriel move and see whether, again, I don't know if you have enough cash or not. Maybe if you have two free transfers and if you have enough cash, I know that you're saying Madison selling Madison to Saka is not worth it, but I think if you have covered the Tottenham attack with Son, which I think you will. I mean, a lot of people do have the combination of Son and Madison as well. Considering the fact that Madison is a kind of a player who's going to be the assister most of the times, and he's probably a player who's probably going to give you, let's say, about 8 to 10 points. Now that could also be the case with Saka because if he just keeps on giving penalties like the way he's had so far, he's also probably not going to give you double-digit hauls or massive hauls. Having said that, I still feel Saka has more potential to give a double-digit haul than a Madison, and I think that's the reason I'm okay with making the Madison to a Saka move because number one, I have the Tottenham attack covered. Number two, Tottenham has slightly trickier fixtures. Arsenal fixtures turn, especially after the Newcastle game, and I think Saka has more points potential than a Madison. If this was Son, maybe definitely not. But I think if it's Madison, I think it's okay. I mean, you don't have to do it for sure because Madison is still okay. Yes, I mean you could expect Crystal Palace at it's at home for Palace, so I'm not sure whether they're going to park the bus or not. But I think if they even play a little bit, I think this Tottenham team is different. I mean, we have to change that expectation that of the old Tottenham that we used to have or had last season. I think this Tottenham team will find a way, and Madison is the kind of player which Tottenham hasn't had since a very long time. He's a proper number 10, and I think he's going to be involved. So yes, his potential is more towards getting assists, maybe a couple of bonus, maybe a clean sheet if Tottenham don't concede. But I think if that move is possible, I think Madison to Saka is still a good move. Remember the last season I said Liverpool will lose to Forest. I mean, yeah, you did say that. This time I predict Salah will score 3 goals. Absolutely. Let's even think that he's probably gonna do more because he's my captain. I think a fair amount of people have also captained him. So yeah, let's just keep our fingers crossed. I typed it earlier, but I couldn't hear what you said since I'm in class. Let's see. I didn't see your question. In case if you just can just mention the question again, I'll help you out. I have the cash to do Madison to Saka. Should I? I mean, I think it's okay. I think Madison to Saka for me, it's fine. You don't have to do it. I mean, I know that's probably not answering the question, but yeah, not sitting on the fence. If I had to answer it, I think I'll do it. Is Colwell a good enough option? Good enough? I'm on the bench. I mean, you never know if Chelsea looks decent. I mean, they're okay defensively. I know a lot of people are very turned off by how Chelsea have played, and there's so much, scrutiny. Of course, it will be because of the fact that they've spent so much money in the transfer window, etc. But I think they're okay defense. They're not a very bad defense. They have decent numbers as well. I think Colwell, especially when Chelsea has a good run of fixtures, I think he could be a decent hold. I do think that he's going to start most games. And yes, I mean, from game week 16 when the run gets really good, I mean, if you can't afford to keep him till then on the bench, I understand the appeal of selling him and all that stuff, but I think on the bench he could be fine. Sell Almiron for Gordon or Douglas Lewis. I think I'll go Gordon. I mean, Lewis is the kind of a player who will probably give you a massive double-digit haul on one day, but then might not do anything for the next 4 or 5 weeks, right? So it's difficult, and plus I don't think so you'll have the patience to wait for that haul, and you might not even end up catching it. So I think Gordon's definitely the more attacking option, the more steady sort of a player who's probably going to give you decent stats week on week, and I think Newcastle's attacking numbers are really good, and I think Gordon is also a very important part of it. So I think if I'm selling Almiron, if I'm doing the switch, I'll do Almiron to Gordon. Only Chelsea player I trust now is Colwell, nobody else. I mean, let's see. I mean, let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Right now, fair enough. If that's the thinking, but I think in Kunku, I think coming back is probably going to be a massive boost. Reece James, if he can stay fit, I mean, absolutely, if he can stay fit, I think he could still be a decent pick. I think there is potential in that Chelsea team. I mean, there's no hiding behind any bush saying that that Chelsea team is absolutely crap. No, they're not. They just need a good enough time for certain players to be around, play together, and then start showing that on the pitch, of course. But yeah, I mean, right now I probably trust their defense a little bit more than I trust their attack, and that's where I am. I mean, Sterling has been okay from a from an FPL point of view. I think in 9 fixtures he's got 6 returns, so I think that's still not that bad. Yes, now those returns have only been in 2 games, so you'll probably have had him for a very very long time, sold him, and next week you got a return. That could have absolutely happened, but yeah, I think overall, when you look at the overall scheme of things, 6 returns is okay. The fact that he's only got them in 2 games is a little bit concerning. How much for getting in Poro in the starting 11 benching? I mean, absolutely not going to do that. No amount of money and no amount of convincing can lead me to do that. Not happening. If we were probably having one of those seasons where everything is going absolutely crap, and we're just not getting anywhere, maybe why not? Just let's have some fun, something like that. But yeah, I mean, in a week where a lot of good players can go absolutely massive, I think let's just play it safe, play it sound, and let's just see what happens from there. Madison, Son, and Neto to Saka, Martinelli, and Mitoma. No, I do. I mean, taking out Madison, Son. No, I'll probably not do that. Saka and Mitoma are good options. Doubling up with Martinelli could also give you some advantages there, but I just feel taking out Son, Madison is probably not worth it. Not for a hit, even if it's for free. I think I personally won't do it. Did you wildcard? I did use my wildcard. I've forgotten when though. I think a couple of weeks back is when I used my wildcard. But yeah, I'm done with my wildcard. Don't have it now. Still in a decent position. I don't think so. We are very far off from what the ideal team would be. Yes, I mean, on a wildcard, the advantage would probably be an Arsenal player, maybe a couple of Arsenal players. If you're going with a Gabriel or a Saka, for example, I think that's probably the only thing that is missing from a wildcard team. Maybe a Mitoma as well. So a couple of options, I think, which could easily be switched, or I can easily get them. A Madison to one of Mitoma is absolutely possible. I don't have any cash, so I of course can't get in Saka. The only way I can get in Saka is to probably downgrade a Son, which can also happen if we see a huge decline in terms of how Tottenham are performing, and if we see Arsenal are playing really well. Saka, we know he's gonna be involved. Absolutely, he's gonna be involved. An alternate route or to counter that could also be taking out Madison and then getting in Martinelli. I think that could also be okay. Yeah, so there are options. I mean, there are absolutely options to go for. I don't have a lot of money in defense. I mean, I can definitely downgrade one of Cash, Share, or even Poro. I think all three of them are above 5 million right now. So I think that there is some cash available there. And of course, cash is also available to take out. But I think, yeah, I mean, there are moves, a couple of transfers that I can do, and I won't be very far from the current wildcard team. Trip, Simicas, Pau, Torres, Gabriel, bench 1. I think if I had to bench one, I'll bench Torres. I know it's against Luton, but all the other options, I mean, Gabriel, I think I'll bench Pau Torres. Don't want to, but I mean, Trippier, definitely not. Simicas, definitely not. The attacking threat could be immense. Pau Torres and Gabriel, both, they can give some threat from set pieces, but I mean, if Luton scores somehow, the clean sheet is gone, and I think Arsenal's definitely going to get a clean sheet in this one. I think I'll bench Pau Torres. Great, guys. About 15 odd minutes to go. So, in case if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you've not visited your team yet, or if you've not made your transfers, first go to the transfer page, make those moves. A lot of people might be thinking of getting in a Saka. I think that Madison to Saka is okay. I think Watkins is a good buy this week. You can have him for the next 3 weeks, and then you can probably ship him out to a different option. I think that would be the kind of strategy that you can probably adopt. And yeah, I mean, overall, Son is okay to hold. I think Salah is a very good buy in case if you've not had Salah. I don't think so. You should probably think there a lot. I think Salah. If I have to name one must-player option, I think Salah is that one must-player pick. In fact, even more than Haaland right now. But yeah, I would still not go without Haaland. I think if you have these 3 or 4 options, I think you can easily make the rest of the team, and I think that should be quite decent. What happened in the blog? We kind of took a break from the blog. There were a few things that I have to figure out in terms of FPL in general and where the channel is going. And of course, there are a couple of things that I'm planning in terms of the new direction that I'm thinking of in terms of the channel. Planning to keep of course keep doing these streams, putting out content on Instagram, but I think I'm kind of moving towards publishing more general football content, which will of course also be on the YouTube channel. There'll be videos of talking about football in general, trending topics, topics related to the Premier League, topics related to some other leagues. If we have some news, if we have some information which is interesting, we'll be having more of that stuff on the blog for sure, and I think that will also translate into the YouTube videos as well. And that's what's been kind of keeping me busy in terms of maybe putting out slightly lesser FPL content. But yeah, FPL is not going anywhere for the moment. There'll be streams, there'll be content, but yeah, probably just not on the blog. That's what I have in mind for now. But yeah, who knows what happens in the future, right? I mean, a lot could change anyways. But yeah, Madison and Neto to Saka and Adingra. I mean, Madison to Saka is good. Neto to, I mean, these are good options. I mean, you're getting a safer Saka and you're getting an Adingra, which is Adingra is still a risk, right? Because it's not that he's a proven asset like a Mitoma. Yes, he could be really good. He's probably going to be providing a lot of value, and if you have to play this player, I think at that 5-ish million price point, I think he could be a great option, much better than the other options that you probably have in the game right now. So I think, yeah, these are good moves. Can always help if you need, for sure. I will definitely reach out to you in case if I need any help. But yeah, thank you so much for all your love and support that you've shown me over quite some period of time now. Can you rate Kulusevski for this week? I think Kulusevski still as a differential, I mean, definitely better than Richarlison as a differential, a decent option. But if I'm looking at two attackers, one attacker or an attacker from Spurs, I think it has to be Maddison, it has to be Son. Priority is definitely Son. If money is an issue, then definitely Maddison. I think those would still be higher in my wish list or overall ranking, etc. When I'm talking about the Spurs attack, and I think these are the two players that will be involved. I think I was looking at the numbers, and I think whatever amount of goals I think Tottenham has scored this season, 80% of those goals have had an involvement from Son and Maddison. So that just shows what's the impact of these two players. And I think yeah, I mean, Kulusevski could be an option, but not right now. I think I won't rate him very highly. I won't really suggest him as well in terms of a transfer. If you have him, you keep him, of course, because the fixtures okay. But if you have an opportunity to convert him to a Maddison or maybe go cheaper, etc., and then maybe make an upgrade elsewhere, I think I'll still do that. Who do I bench, Alvarez or Solanke? I mean, definitely Solanke. Alvarez against United, it's Derby. Of course, it's Derby. It's United then. Not a great defense. I don't think so. You really have to think about this. I think just bench Solanke and then play Alvarez. Burnley easier fixture though. I mean, it is easier, but I just feel United will concede, and Alvarez has been getting goals, getting assists, getting those crucial goals when City actually need him, and I think he's a very important player to get benched as well. So I'll still play him. For a -4, sell Trippier and Madison to Gabriel and Saka. No, I won't do it. I think Trippier and Madison are okay this week. For a hit, I would probably not do it. Not this week. There's about 10 minutes to go. Please hit the like button if you've enjoyed the stream so far. If you found this helpful and useful, it really helps us, put ourselves out there, and of course helps us with the algorithm as well. If you're new around here, also subscribe to the Insanely Football YouTube channel. We do FPL content, planning to do other football content as well very, very soon. I've seen people taking -12s to minus. I mean, see, it's crazy to think that somebody will take a -20 and probably reap the benefits from that in 1 week or the same week. It could absolutely happen. I mean, all those moves could be crazy and could work out in your favor and could absolutely smash it in a particular week. I've also seen that happening. People taking -8s, -12s. -20 is a bit weird because if you have the wildcard available, just use the wildcard. If not, take a couple of weeks on the chin, take that loss, and then try to sort out your team in 2 to 3 weeks, where you probably don't have to take so many hits. I keep putting my message in the chat and you keep missing it. I haven't seen the message. It's not coming to me. If you're sending it on Instagram, I'll check it, but I'm not seeing it here. I don't know. Might be weird. Yeah, I'm not seeing the message. I mean, I'm trying to reply to. I have kind of replied to all the messages, but yeah, maybe you can just DM on Instagram. Yeah, it's not coming out. Salah or Watkins for captaincy? Salah for sure. Ahead of Watkins, I think more potential on penalties, gets the additional point for clean sheet as well, gets the additional point for goal scored as well. So there are a couple of extra points that he's anyways getting. Let's hope that he scores. But yeah, overall, I think slightly better than Watkins for sure. I mean, yeah, Don, do let us know what your message is. In case if you want to DM me on Instagram, you can do that as well. It's 4 different transfer ideas. That probably just if you can just message on Instagram, I'll quickly check it out and I'll let you know. Or if you've copy pasted it somewhere, just write it here or just paste it here. We have some time, so we can probably just take some time for this question as well. I mean, all of us can help you out for sure. In the meantime, if there are any more questions, please feel free to ask. In terms of the benching as well, I think there would be a couple of benching headaches this week. I think Porro is definitely one. I'm not very, very happy benching him this week because of the fact that it's Palace and Palace at home. Maybe Spurs don't keep a clean sheet. Palace without Eze have not really looked that great anyway. And I don't really trust the Palace attack too much, to be very honest. I think Spurs can figure out a way to score and maybe even keep a clean sheet. I'm not sure. But yeah, Palace is still going to be a slightly trickier game. Forest at home, definitely. It kind of sounds more interesting, from an attack and return point of view, from a clean sheet point of view. It just looks like, the gut is telling you to kind of move towards there and see what happens with Porro. But yeah, Nketiah or Joao Pedro, I'll avoid both if I can. If I can't, then I'll probably take a chance with Nketiah. Couple of weeks only. I'm not sure if Gabriel Jesus is going to be out for very, very long. But yeah. I would tell you, but it won't send the message together. I mean, you can probably just break it down combination by combination, which you are doing, which I just saw. Which one? Bowen, Samikas in for Mbomo and Share. That's one. And the second is Bowen, Burn, Turner in. Bowen, Burn, Turner in. For Mbomo, Buemo, Share, Flecken. So basically, you're gaining Bowen, you're gaining Burn in the second move, which is a Newcastle defender. Turner is, I'm assuming, to get in money, which is absolutely fine. Bowen, Semikas, Burn in for Mbomo, Puemo, Udogi, and then Bowen, Semikas, Turner in for Buemo, Udogi, and Flecken. I think Bowen, I mean, what I'm seeing is Bowen is definitely there in all the options. So Bowen is definitely coming in. Now the thing is that whether you want to take out and do let me know if you can just make the you know Mbuemo move, basically taking out Mbuemo and then just getting in Bowen directly. If you can, then do that. If you can't, and if the idea is to basically get money from these moves, I think I mean yeah, Mbuemo out, Share out, and Udoki out, and Bowen, Semikas, and Burnin. I think it's fine. You don't necessarily have to go for a Newcastle defender, and that's the reason I'm asking this. But yeah, I mean, I think Simikas would be the one I'll probably get in, because I can definitely use him. Keepers, yeah, yes, there is potential to save some money there, but I necessarily don't see a huge upside by changing keepers. Of course, the idea here is to get the additional money. But I think Bowen, Simikas, and Burn in for Buemo, Share, Udogi is absolutely fine. You're retaining the Newcastle defender. You're getting in Bowen, and you are also getting in Simikas, which is a good pick. So if you don't basically take out Share, and you go for the keeper. I mean, you change the keeper here, so you basically gain Bowen, Simikas, and then the Turner option. So I mean, it's not really a huge difference. If I mean, yeah, I think you can go with the. In case if you want to sort out your keepers, I think you can do that. But I think Bowen, Simikas, Burn in for Buemo, Share, and Udogi is absolutely fine. I think that should be okay. Bowen and Adingra or Mitoma or Gordon, which one's better? I think Mitoma and Gordon is going to be safer. I think Mitoma is a good option long term also. I think Gordon for the next. I mean, let's see what happens with Gordon, but I think Mitoma and Gordon is a slightly better combination because of the fact that they're more slightly. I mean, Gordon is still a bit of an unknown, but he's still more known than Adingra. We do not know whether Adingra is gonna get regular starts. The assumption here is that he will, because the fact that Solly March is out for a long time. We also have to face that fact that De Zerbi does make a lot of changes. So Bowen is a pick. I definitely like him more than Mitoma and Gordon. I mean, I don't think so. It's a fair comparison between Bowen and Gordon, for example. But yeah, it's definitely more aggressive, and if you're okay with the risk, I think it's a good move. If you want to go safer, I think Mitoma and Gordon is the one to go for. In case if you're trying to gain rank, catch up on your rivals, or trying to go a little bit aggressive, I think go Bowen and Adingra. My other goalkeeper is Areola, so basically you will be having Areola or Flecken. I think it's fine. You see, if you want to take out cash from the keeper, Flecken could become Turner, and that definitely gives you two playing goalkeepers for now. And then you have Share, who can be downgraded into a different option as well. So I mean, it's not really a huge difference, to be honest, because you're getting the same kind of players. The idea here is that you do get Simikas, and that optionality is there, because with a Turner and Areola, yes, you can switch them, but the upside is not going to be very, very high. But with the Simikas, you definitely give yourself an option to, basically put yourself in a position where you can play him in Liverpool's good game. So I think it's not really a huge difference. 3-4, whatever you feel fine, I think you can go with it. Haaland to Carlton Morris, triple captain. I mean, no, absolutely not. I think it's getting to crazy time where now a lot of weird thoughts are gonna come in our heads, and we'll go absolutely crazy. Wildcard team: Areola, Gabriel, Cash, Simikas, Lascelles, Salah, Saka, Mitoma, Bowen, Haaland, Watkins. Bench is Johnston, Porro, Palmer, Mupama. I mean, you can probably save that money on Johnston as well. If this is a wildcard team, you can probably just change Johnston to even a cheaper keeper. I mean, go with Turner. In case if you don't have money, you will get some money. In case if you have some money, you will add on to the money that you have, because I mean, one option is if you want to utilize this money, if you already have some money and you're okay taking this money out, I think you can definitely upgrade us, Lascelles to a different option. That's one. Again, I don't know how much money you have, but I think as is, it's okay downgrading Johnston to a Turner. That'll give you some cash. Let's see how much cash would it give you. Probably 0.2, 0.3, something like that. Not really a lot of options in I mean, you can go with the 3 point. If you want to save some more cash, Lascelles could be a Burnley option, but I think Lascelles can also be played. So I think it's fine. I do think that once Botman comes back, Lascelles will lose his position. So be mindful of that. In case if you want a safe playing option, Everton's Branthwaite is one. You can also go Taylor. I think it was 3.94. So you'll again save some money. And I think Taylor's definitely going to be playing more games or playing more time than Lascelles. But yeah, I think the Johnston to Turner is more important than Lascelles probably for me. Rest I think is good. Bench boost, then I predict 4 goals by 4. Let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Yeah, lots to look forward to. Guys, 1 minute to go. I'll just quickly check my team. You can also do that very, very quickly. Captain is Salah, vice captain is Son. Pedro Porro on the bench. That's the team. Yeah, Areola is ahead of Flecken for this week. Okay, so I think it's almost deadline. Any last questions, please let me know. Otherwise, all the best for Game Week 10. I hope you really, really have a good week. I hope you watch some football as well and you enjoy football as well. And yes, at the end of the day, we do end up, learning something from the game week. There are some takeaways which we could probably apply to, focus or put forward in the upcoming games. I think that should be really, really good. FPL away kits. We'll see that. What is it though? We'll see. Let me just change the screen here and I just hope we do not lose the screen. Yeah. It'll show you away kits for every. Okay, interesting. We'll check that probably after the stream. Yeah. Great, guys. Any last comments? Anything that you wanna say? Anything that we wanna talk about? I'll stay in for a couple of minutes. Otherwise, we'll call it a night. It's anyways late. Have not had dinner. Yeah, of course the match is also there. So looking forward. Again, as I said, all the best. Have a good week. Of course, we'll be streaming next week as well. In case if you have any questions during the week, etc., please feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm available for a chat. I'm always replying to all the DMs that I can throughout the week. And yeah, thank you so much again for joining. I hope this was helpful and useful. I hope you liked it. I hope all of us get green arrows. And yeah, do really, really well. If you liked the stream, please hit the like button. Do subscribe to the channel as well if you're new around here. And with that, I think we'll call it a night. Good luck to all of you. And yes, see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.